Alright, so here we are. I'm not going to get the whole thing in the whole shot. But basically, some time ago, I tried to make my own skein winder. And this thing has been kind of sitting inside of the room unused because I couldn't get the bearings right to turn the way I wanted to. It was probably usable, but I'm kind of picky. So finally, I got one of the Lazy Susan bearings at Home Depot. Just put it on this poor thing. By the time I had messed around with it, I had cracked the wood. So I just used an electrical plate to cover over there and keep these together. Now, originally, there were 4 holes here on each side to wind the skein in the standard 18 inches or the 36 inches that you fold over and turn into the 18-inch skein. But I was like, oh, don't forget it. So from here to the top point on this is 36 inches. And I'll just count twice. It'll give me the yardage. And then I'll just wind it into kind of a more compact looking skein. So pretty much there's the spindle, top whirl spindle that I was spinning on. It's down on the floor. It needs the spindle lazy Kate, but I didn't really feel like pulling it out. And it turns pretty nicely. I have to oil it periodically, the bearings, but it works just fine. And I didn't glue in the pegs, so I'm kind of keeping my eye on them to see if they pop out, because I had not decided what I wanted to do about the 2 different positions. And it also makes it easier to have them pop out so that this is as flush against the wall as it's going to be, so that I can put other things against the wall without having to take the entire piece off. It's so much more convenient to have it mounted to the wall than it does to have it on the table, because I really just don't have any table space in this room to lay this thing out. Not at this level. I suppose I could take it to another room, but well, you know people who do crafts and they don't have a lot of space, and so stuff is all over their living rooms and dining rooms. And if you have to do that kind of thing, you know, of course you have to do that kind of thing. But I don't want my crafts to spread all over the house. I like to at least have a clean room or 2 that people can sit in. And also, the more spread out the crafts are, the more likely it is some dog is going to get something. I posted a picture on Instagram of Julie, and they were all in the room while I ran next door to my brother's house, because my washing machine went bye-bye, and I used his. And so I wasn't gone very long, and I came back and she had jumped onto the table and pretty much pulled this ball of yarn apart. So I just can't have crafts all over the house with these guys. I don't let them roam free like if I'm not there, but they walk around the house with me. And sometimes they're in the rooms for a little bit while I go to another room. So it's just, you know, you practice child safety, I practice dog safety. Okay, so you don't have to watch me wind this thing. I probably could spin it faster too, but I'm not going to. And once I wind it on, I'm going to do like a 4-step operation. There are many efficient ways to get a variegated dye on a skein of yarn. In this case, I want the top half of the skein to be white, and then I want it to gradually fade into the violet color. So what I'm going to do is wind off a small section of the skein at the beginning. So I'll have a ball or a wind off of the skein, whichever one I decide to do, and then that will give me 3 different sections of yarn that I'm going to dip dye. Well, the one will hang out the pot, and the other 2 will dip dye in the crock pot, and that will give me a pretty nice variegated skein. And so next, after I finish winding this, I'm going to pull up the crock pot and demonstrate how my preferred method of dyeing. And then eventually, somewhere down the line, I plan on starting a spring garden pattern. And that will be what this particular skein of merino is for. Stay tuned. Okay, so put it on a scale. Well, after I count the yardage, I only had 120, well, 119 yards. And I was like, oh, that's not really a lot. But when I went over to the scale, this is not even an ounce of fiber. So I think my last one, it was like 1.4 ounces of fiber. I got 166. So with not even an ounce of fiber, I got 119. So that's not too bad. And that is as thin as I care to spin. I am not a big lace weight spinner at all. And this will be just right. And the thing about merino is, I mean, it hardly weighs much of anything. And that becomes a challenge for me as I knit shawls, because they don't have enough weight to really sit properly. Or at least I find I don't like the way they sit a lot of times. All right, so I am winding off a bit. That's going to be the neutral or white. And I'm going to just leave this. It doesn't have to be a lot for me. Just something to make the variation in the pattern. Just to start, this is a top-down shawl pattern. So it's just going to be the start. And I'm having a lot of issues with this. Because it was merino, I had a lot of extra twist. So this yarn is pretty energized. And I don't weigh my skeins or anything like that, because I'm going to block the thing anyway. So there's no sense diluting myself into how much twist is in the skein by weighing it down. Because when you weigh down a skein, you don't take the twist out of it. Okay, you just relax it for that time. And the moment it gets wet again, it's going to be energized. So you can do that if you like. It's not going to bother me. But the moment I wash, it's all going to come back. So I don't worry too much about it. Okay, so here I've got my few yards wound off. And that's going to be the white of the pattern. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tie that off into its own little section. And that is going to hang outside the crock pot when I dye. I'm tying this skein in 4 places. Sometimes I tie skeins in 4 places. Sometimes I tie them in 2 places. Sometimes I just loop them with their own ends. And sometimes I use other fibers to do that. It really depends on what it is that I'm putting into the dye pot. Merino, as we all know, felts very well. So I'm a little more careful with the merino. And also, because there's a lot of extra twist in this skein, I do not want it to come to any harm while it is in the dye pot or taken out of the dye pot. You know, you get things out of the dye pot and they're kind of disorganized, and then they turn into this massive mess. So I don't want that to happen either. So I'm going to go ahead and tying it as best as I possibly can. And I have the little clump here that's going to be white, and I'm tying that in 2 places. It doesn't really matter if it's smooth or organized, because it's not going to go into the dye pot. After it comes out of the dye pot, I will let it dry. And then I will skein it again, and then I will wash it, because I know that this white is going to wash up really nicely. But in this little crazy ball I have it in, I'm most certainly not going to put that into the water. So I'll do all that after I've gone ahead and dyed it again. Basically, this is my crock pot setup. Got a couple different crock pots. And I don't even know how many quarts this one is. Anyway, I just put the dye in. I've got my vinegar in. And I do prefer citric acid. You use a lot less citric acid than you do vinegar. But the citric acid has to be special ordered for me. I can't go and pick it up anywhere. And I know somebody's going to say in the comments, well, go to your local store in the canning section and get citric acid. But first of all, I live in a hood. in the inner city. So there's no such thing as a canning section, except for at the end of the growing season, where they have like Walmart, or a few places will have like a few mason jars and a little teeny spice thing of citric acid that's like $6. So that's really not going to happen. And pretty much all around there is around here is Walmart's, the big chain grocery stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, Tractor Supplies, and that's even like 20 something miles from me. So I'm not really going to be able to get citric acid without ordering it online. And some of the best places with the best shipping and stuff are so much better when I can order more than one thing. So unless I'm ordering a bunch of stuff at one time, I don't really get the citric acid at a good price. So it's just easier just to go to Walmart and grab the vinegar. So now we got that settled. So get the vinegar in, and I just put my fiber in there, a little bit of water. I don't really fuss about how much fiber or how much dye I need or anything like that. I have a pretty rough idea about how much I need, which is not a lot. This is barely an ounce of fiber. And it doesn't really matter how much water you put in there. And in this case, because this is merino, it's going to behave like merino behaves. I'm going to grab something real quick. Oh, you know what? This would be better. And just poke it in there to make sure it gets saturated. And then I just turn my crock pot on and let it go. Half an hour, I don't know, might even be less than that. I don't worry about it too much. Don't make the mistake of leaving crock pots on overnight. I did that by accident, cracked my last one. Now I've got a nice, perfectly, almost brand new pot and no ceramic tub for the inside. Getting a replacement ceramic tub is pretty much the same price as I paid for the crock pot. So I just not make sure I don't do that, put something on and leave out the house. But other than that, I don't worry too much about it. Just get it in there. Take up water. I could have pre-soaked it, but I hadn't thought about that till now. But you can do that, pre-soak them. Especially fibers like Angora, which are hydrophilic. And you maybe you don't want to mess around with it too much. You don't want to full it or felt it, so you might want to pre-soak. Like I said, I don't worry too much about that either. I just kind of press it down there. And I am not really obsessed about even coverage. I think it adds a little something to the yarn. If it's not, if I want it even, then I'll make sure that it's completely covered. And that's soaked in there nice and good. Good use of the knitting, of the nasty pin. I never figure out how to say that. But anyway, just put my lid on it. Okay, so here's the skein. This is how it came out. And actually, that's not too bad as far as the camera and color. It's more, this makes it look a little lavender-ish, when in fact it's more ultraviolet than anything else. And I'm still trying to figure out how to make those adjustments. Sorry about my table. I'm making cards for Easter and our love feast coming up. So I'm kind of like in the middle of projects as projects dry. And I changed projects to keep from having tendinitis from repetitive stress injuries. And at some point, I need to talk to you spinners about that, or spinners and knitters, to keep your hands free from those type of injuries. But anyway, so this is how it turned out. Here's the extra skein over here that needs to be washed up white. And since I only got 120, I think I said yards, 120 yards, the last one I did, oh, and of course they're going to hit the table now. Lay down, you guys. The last one I did, I used 166 yards. So I wanted to shoot for a little bit more. And so I'm going to spin up just a little bit more merino to go with this. And let me show you what I was working with. Because, okay, oh, that turned out really nicely. Let's toss it over here. I got this merino a long time ago. And periodically I talk through my videos about how much I hated it. And so finally here it is. This is pretty much, this is short. This is like barely 2 inches. Oh, and I can't stand short fiber. And this stuff was so dirty. I mean, it was. Look at this. It pretty much just looks like somebody's leftovers. And I didn't know when I got it. It was a long time ago. And this is after like 2 or 3 washings. I think more than that. Okay, so anyway, but I figured I'd try to give it some use, so I carded. I tried to flick, really had to card more of it, and I probably got 1/2 ounce, and we'll see how this goes. And the top whorl spindle is right here. I wanted to do something about top whorl and bottom whorls, but you know, I've never had a lot of success with the top whorl spindles. For me, it seems like no matter what I do, it just wobbles too much while it spins. And I flick it from the bottom. I've tried flicking it in the middle. I'm guessing for me it has a lot to do with how I built my cop, because once I learned how to build a good cop on the bottom whorl spindle, it was a lot easier for me to handle. And so I'm thinking that's probably I have to build the cop differently on the top whorl spindle than the bottom one. Or maybe it's just that I don't like it. It's okay not to like something. So we'll see about that. Okay. Also, I have 3 out of 4 bobbins filled for this really, really yummy alpaca. And so I'm hoping to get that project completed by the end of April so I can go back to spinning for weaving for yardage. I just thank Sandy Lincoln for that. The opportunity to spin that it's just dreamy. It's the staple length is long. It's white. It's well cared for. There's very little VM inside of it. It is some of the best alpaca I've ever spun. And I've spun some good alpaca from some really good folks. But that's just some of the best alpaca I've ever spun. So anyway, that's pretty much my working project for this week. And besides the alpaca, pretty much the projects are changing. I have a knitted bunny it's called the Bobby bunny that I'm crocheting for friends' sons. And so maybe, I need to have it done by the time I go Sarah after Easter. But maybe I'll have it done by next week in time for the video. It's been a long time since I crocheted. Now that I'm doing crochet lessons, kind of getting back to it, I had forgotten how much I enjoyed it. So maybe I'll show you what that looks like. I'll catch you guys later. As always, thank you for listening to my crazy videos. If you have any questions, go ahead and post it in the comments, or if there's anything particular you'd like me to do. Growing season is coming up, and so I'll start doing a little more things about the garden. And someone requested videos of the dogs, and so I'll have them outside, and a couple of videos of how they're doing. And please visit me on Facebook, Instagram, my blog, if I ever get around to writing whole sentences in the blog again. Oh, and don't forget to do a thumbs up and click the little bell at the end of the subscription to receive notifications when I finally get videos uploaded. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.